Would I be the a-hole for calling off the wedding? Alright, so I'm pretty torn here. I've been dating a girl for a long time and it's been mostly great. I proposed a few months ago, and we've been planning some wedding stuff recently. Well, she has also recently dropped it on me that it is family tradition to put a ball and chain on the groom at the reception as joke, and they won't take it off until whenever the F they decide to. I'm certainly not doing that, but she seems pretty firm on it. I feel like, if you want to embarrass me like that, you can host your own reception without my family and friends there, and embarrass me all you want in front of your family and friends. Really might call this off if they're expecting me to go ball and chain, and I don't feel like I'm being unreasonable, but she's pretty effing mad at me right now for my refusal. Edit. Super overwhelmed with the responses. I didn't expect this many people to show up and agree with me. I really appreciate everyone's thoughts and advice, but there is no way I'll be able to reply to everyone, so here's some more info based on what I've read. Most of the comments thus far. 1. No, I'm not just looking for a reason to call off the wedding. 2. Yes, you guys bring up very good points that if something like this would cause me to throw it away, then it may be some form of writing on the walls. Just to confirm, I do not want to throw it away. 3. I will not be caving into this in any way, shape or form, unless, as I mentioned earlier, she wants to finance her own private reception where her family and friends can embarrass me all they want while mine aren't present. 4. The point above, in my opinion, doesn't mean the wedding will be called off. It's up to how firm she is on the joke and if they'll just let it go. What a disgusting and foul tradition, and also what a silly mindset this woman has. Why the F would you want to force your partner to do something they find unpleasant on their own wedding day? I feel like that's a bigger problem for me. The tradition is horrendous, but this is even worse. On our wedding day, my wife and I had a fantastic time. Yeah, sure, there's a lot of stuff going on, but one key thing, we continued to be each other's number one supporters. We were constantly looking out for each other to make sure we are eating, chatting, etc. What's the effing point even of getting married and having a wedding if your spouse won't enjoy it? I think this may be a tradition where the meaning behind the tradition may have become divorced from the tradition itself. If I was op, I would tell your future wife that you don't think marrying her is a ball and chain, and you find it disrespectful to insinuate that it is. Even though it's embarrassing, I would focus on what the ball and chain means to you, and why you don't like the idea behind it. If she is truly tied to it, ask her why she wants people to think she, the wife, is the proverbial ball and chain slowing down or trapping the groom, and if she is really comfortable with that insinuation, there may be another meaning to the wife's family behind this too. I just think op needs to communicate why he doesn't like it outside of the embarrassment. Hey, you know what would be hilarious? If we got him to wear a ball and chain. Like a real ball and chain. Yeah, OMG. That would be totally hilarious. But he wouldn't go for that. Tell him it's tradition. It's a family tradition for the groom to wear the ball and chain. If you don't do this, he's going to run your life. Do you want him to run your life and maybe even ruin it? Do it. Where did this tradition start? Has the father-in-law confirmed that this is a thing? Are there pictures? Is there like an heirloom ball and chain the father-in-law brings and passes on to the sister-in-law? And where's the win when you humiliate your spouse? Something along these lines is actually a pretty common joke in most weddings where I live. At every wedding boutique or shop I've ever been to, there's the plastic ball and chain for the groom or a cake topper where the bride is dragging a protesting groom behind her. People seem to think it's cute and funny, but I think it's rude and degrading. It humiliates the groom and portrays the bride as a domineering bee. It makes everybody look bad on a day where you're supposed to be celebrating love. I hate it. This marriage, all relationships, are about listening to each other and making compromises or accommodations. It sounds like the tradition here is more hurtful to op than it is important to the fiancé. If this was my fiancé, the thought process would be 1. Can we compromise the way the tradition works? Example, have the ball and chain for a few minutes, replace with something else. 2. Can we do this at a time when only bride's family are present, after the reception for example? It sounds like this has already been considered and nixed by the bride. It seems clear that Op isn't okay with the former, so in this case the bride needs to choose between the happiness of her fiancé and the happiness of her family, who can just as easily, not do this shit. Spoiler alert, in a long-term relationship your spouse should be at least as important as your family if not more. If they can't listen to each other and agree on a solution here, they really aren't going to be able to face it when bigger arguments like kids, moving house, etc. come up. Source: currently engaged and it's going great, mainly because we communicate and listen to each other a heck of a lot. Yep, some traditions need to be let go. My family has a tradition of decorating the bride and groom's car. It's totally over the top to the point the couple has to spend several minutes cleaning up the car before they can even go anywhere. Everyone else seems to have a great time with it, but I have never liked it and never participated. When I got married I wasn't going to be having that. We parked our car at our hotel for the night and got a ride to the venue. At the end of the reception we had a hired car take us back to the hotel. I'm not cleaning my car up in my wedding dress before I can leave for the night. It sounds like Op is looking for a way out without looking like an a-hole. The other problem of just refusing to do it is that some families are so crazy, they'd force it upon him during the reception. I was at a wedding where the older sister of the groom was cornered into dancing in a hog trough because her younger brother, the groom, got married first. Like all of the groomsmen circled around her, so she had no way to get out of it. It was some dumb tradition in their family and she seemed to play along, but she definitely disappeared for a bit after that during the reception. Probably too embarrassed. Not the a-hole for being upset at your fiancé attempting to foist this horrifying, tacky tradition upon you. She should be willing to compromise with you on this. You're starting your own family with your own traditions, hopefully. But the way you write about this relationship makes it sound like you're not that into it in the first place. Calling off a wedding is a big deal. Does this mean you no longer want to marry her at all? What kind of conversation have you had with her about this? Why does she feel it's so important to indulge this tradition? And why are you so willing to break what was supposed to be a lifelong commitment over it? Understand that I completely agree with you that this tradition is tacky and shitty and should not be done. But, what does this say about how you would handle other, arguably more important conflicts in life? Not the a-hole when it comes to not wanting to go along with the tradition. I'm surprised that the bride is so adamant about something so ridiculously tacky at her wedding. Does she not realize that the implication is that she is the ball and chain and that means that you are stuck with her rather than marrying her out of love and wanting to be with her? I'm not sure if calling off the entire wedding over a disagreement about what is obviously tacky is warranted. But if she tries to guilt you into it without seeing how offensive and degrading it is to the both of you, you may want to take a hard look at the relationship to make sure there aren't any other red flags that you have been overlooking. This is especially true if your future in-laws are the ones pressing this as a deal breaker. This is also your wedding. I'm sure you have compromised on plenty of things. She should be willing to compromise on this. If she doesn't see that this is not only ridiculously tacky, but is also offensive to you and your family, you definitely need to consider what your next steps are. You're the a-hole. I honestly cannot imagine why you're so set on being embarrassed by this. It's your choice to be embarrassed. Remove your ego from the situation. Nobody thinks you're less of a man for honoring her family tradition and wearing a ball and chain. It's a joke. If she actually makes you feel like you have a ball and chain attached to your leg, then rethink your relationship. If she makes you feel loved and understood, then give her what she wants. You're losing nothing by doing this. You're the a-hole. I think it's a harmless tradition. I married into a family like this. They didn't do the ball and chain with me, but it was a family tradition and we did it at a different wedding, and it was a blast. Nobody takes it seriously. You're taking it way too personally, and way too far. Honestly, I think this family sounds like a lot of fun. They're probably better off without you. Not the a-hole. People have stupid wedding traditions that don't need to be continued. My spouse also had a wedding tradition in his family that the groom gets stripped of his pants after the bouquet toss and garter throw. I didn't want this to happen. He didn't want it to happen. So I didn't wear a garter and I didn't toss my bouquet. His mom didn't like it that I didn't wear a garter and so couldn't do the tradition. She had one of my husband's friends bring a garter for me. I again refused and said we were not doing the garter toss. I don't think anyone else missed the tradition besides the groomsmen who were going to take more than just pants. Thanks for watching. Please make sure to like and subscribe for more videos. See you all later.